Well, the weekend comes along, and so does Michael Snyder. He's out there on the left coast of the United States, and he's going to give us his Culture Blast report and tell us what's happening in the movies. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Alex. Greetings from Hollywood and such. And it's a very disappointing weekend in terms of movies. And, what can I tell you? They're not all winners, but hopefully more good ones will come down the line. Nonetheless, let's address what's opening this weekend, at least a few of the movies, okay?
Go right ahead.
Despite a very promising cast of familiar and talented actors, and you'll hear how familiar and talented they are when I introduce them, and an intriguing premise, The Circle is a muddle with thin characterizations, a very vague message, and some silly and soapy doings. It is ostensibly a dramatic thriller about the creepy and sinister ways the world's biggest social media and tech company can undermine personal freedom and society in general. As a malleable young woman played by Emma Watson, that's right, Hermione or Belle, is the central figure here, caught in the middle of all things creepy and also, silly. I mean, this is, everything private in her life becomes public, and it basically ends up screwing her and everyone around her. Anyway, May, her character, is a Bay Area girl with loving parents, including a saintly mother played by Glenn Headley, and a father with muscular dystrophy, and the latter is played by Bill Paxton in one of his last roles, if not his last. So not a great way to go out. I wonder, there might be something else in the can for Paxton. But anyway, May is hired by The Circle, which is a kind of a Facebook, Google amalgam. And she's some kind of customer service employee, and she got the job thanks to her best friend, who's a mid-level executive, played by Karen Gillan, formerly of Doctor Who as Amy Pond, and also in the Guardians of the Galaxy films. Love her, Hermione. But anyway, The Circle's charming founder, Eamon Bailey, is played by good old Tom Hanks, who's also one of the producers here. And this guy encourages May to use one of the company's new proprietary mini cameras to live her entire life, Big Brother style, in front of The Circle's worldwide membership. And the decision ends up impacting all the people in her life, including her mom, her dad, and a kindly, artistically, and mechanically inclined ex-boyfriend, who incidentally is played by Eller Coltrane of Boyhood. Whoever thought he would move on to other stuff, but here he is. By the way, the little cameras are placed all over the world for access or surveillance and what the circlers call complete transparency, ostensibly so online people can vicariously experience all the wonders out there, no matter where they happen to be, and also so crime and bad behavior can be thwarted by diligent citizens. Oh, boy, this is a slippery slope. Anyway, John Boyega of The Force Awakens is also on board here as a mysterious Circle functionary, but he's hardly there. And Patton Oswalt plays the Circle's obsequious second-in-command, who one would expect schemes along with the Hanks character to undermine the world, to help the world. Anyway, Watson and the rest of the cast are as good as they can be, considering heavy-handed plot and dialogue, and you never get a sense of her actual point of view regarding all of her decisions, although there are echoes of the novel 1984's original Big Brother and the fate of that book's protagonist. The idea behind this is kind of timely and had plenty of potential, and the production values are high, but the direction is choppy, the plot's obvious, and the message is a weird jumble. It's like the director and co-scripter, a guy named James Ponsoldt, had a big idea but didn't know what he really wanted to do with it and how to do it clearly. And we can partially blame co-screenwriter Dave Eggers, the overpraised new literature wonder boy, whose novel inspired the movie. I haven't read the novel, but I figure it's as kind of weirdly clumsy as the film. And the tech industry cliches that are possibly meant as satirical in the movie are done so much better on the TV series Silicon Valley, which, by the way, is funny and not unintentionally so. The Circle is a downward spiral for the viewer as far as I'm concerned. I do not recommend it. Okay, Slight is a better film than The Circle. A mix of action and drama about a young street magician named Bo who cares for his little sister. It's got a little bit of suspense. It's got a little bit of sci-fi going on in it. And the brother and sister are kind of screwed when their parents die, so the brother has to take care of business, and he eventually gets lured to the dark side as a runner for a drug dealer, and this is to make enough money to keep his sister and himself, going. So when she gets caught in the middle of it, he has to use all of his magical skills and all of his smarts to save her and save himself. The young actor who plays Bo, Jacob Lattimore, very good. Everybody in the cast is pretty terrific. Nobody familiar, Seychelle Gabriel, Storm Reed, Dule Hill. Sashir Zamata from SNL has a small role in this thing. But I thought it was pretty clever and nicely done. And maybe the last act stretches things to the point where, all your goodwill is being strained. But I kind of got a kick out of it. And it was basically a well-spun tale. And the director and co-author J.D. Dillard shows great promise with this thing. It's kind of made on a shoestring, I think. Not a lot of money put into it, but a lot of love and attention. And I thought that slate worked really well. So that one gets a tentative recommendation. I wish I could be as excited about Rupture, which is about a young mother played by Noomi Rapace of Prometheus and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And she's a single mom, and she's afraid of spiders. And she goes out on a day trip to connect with a pal, and she is kidnapped by a bunch of weird people who begin experimenting on her. And it seems like there's something way sinister here, and she is not the only person who is kidnapped. She's in a secret location with a bunch of other people that are being tormented and being exposed to their various fears to elicit some sort of response. There are kind of alien aspects to this thing. Again, it's a science fiction film, but it really strained me to watch it. Michael Chiklis is in this thing. Peter Stormare is like a mad scientist type, which is perfect casting. And there are other actors, including Ari Millen of Orphan Black, some familiar faces, Leslie Manville, a British actress of some repute. But, director Steven Shainberg kind of doesn't know how to really give you the sharp, incisive nature of great science fiction here. There's vagueness, there's weirdness, and ultimately it just ends up falling flat. I wish it had been better. Not really that much in love with Rupture. And finally, something that was maybe TV movie level. Gray Lady is a mystery that features a Boston police officer who has kind of found his partner and girlfriend to be his demise when she is killed during a strange crime that's being committed by a serial lunatic. And he leaves Boston, heads to Nantucket to look further into the murder of his partner and girlfriend. And unfortunately, things spiral downward from there. And, this is a bizarre film because I kind of hoped it would be good. The director and writer, John Shea, is a really terrific actor, and he plays a small role in this, and he would have been much better as James Doyle, the main figure, who is played by the wooden Eric Dane. Amy Madigan is in this cast as a mysterious old lady. There are some solid players here, but ultimately it's sort of TV movie level, and you can't really get caught up in the film when the acting is that sort of cardboard. I wish that it had been better. Gray Lady has some lovely settings. Nantucket looks great, but that's about all we can say regarding Gray Lady. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to review, or maybe fortunately, I wasn't able to review How to Be a Latin Lover because the screening link they sent to me to watch the film basically didn't work. But it's supposed to be a showcase for the great Mexican comedian Eugenio Derbez, who I really like, and he has good support in terms of the cast, but I never had a chance to see it. So I'll never see how Raquel Welch is doing these days because she's in this thing, along with Rob Lowe, Kristen Bell, Rob Corddry, Michael Cera, and a few others. Ken Marino directed it. I kind of wanted to see it, but, thanks, publicist. It didn't work. That's it.
That's it, huh? Okay. That's it's about all you have. I don't have much of anything either, although girlfriend is watching Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, and it looks very depressing.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, you could be depressed from the ideas behind The Circle. And The Handmaid's Tale apparently is where we'd be heading if the Christian theocracy took over. Isn't that sort of the implication there?
Yeah, that's it. And also, I'll tell people, if you get a chance, watch the last episode of Feud. It is just wonderful. It is just incredible. The series turned out to be just great, the thing about Joan Crawford and Bette Davis. And I suggest that wholeheartedly. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
And we'll be back, hopefully, with a clearer voice next week.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you can check me out at Twitter at Culture Blaster and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast.
All right. Thank you, Michael, and everybody else. Stay tuned. There's more GABNet coming right up.